Greetings, netterts and netters. That's goddesses and gods. It's your god brother or your nutter brother, Henri. I want to build with y'all today real quick on a conversation that I had with a friend of mine coming home from work one day. And I'm going to get straight to the point. He asked me a question concerning whether I believed in Adam and Eve or not. And were they the first people on earth? And once it was established that I knew for a fact that Adam and Eve, as depicted in the Bible, were not the first people on the planet Earth, I was then asked, then who were the first people on the planet Earth? And if the woman is the one who gave birth to the first people on Earth, then where did she come from? So that's where I began to explain to him during the drive, that you must refer to the sciences of the ancestors first, you know what I mean? Before you consult anything else. A lot of people aren't into their ancestors and stuff, so that's what you got to look up. The written findings of knowledge accumulated from the studies and info gathered from studying existence as we know it in the human form. Me, myself, I'm a personal believer in having various resources that I go to and pick information from. That way I can get an overall better picture and view. Now, the white people do have some knowledge, but the main people we should be getting our knowledge from is from our people, okay? We know damn well that most of the books that they're putting out to the masses are full of lies, full of misconceptions, full of mistruths, misguidance, purposely, you know what I mean, to direct you away from the truth, which is empowering. Y'all see how I do this? Got my Gil Sky Heron shirt on. Gotta rep the brother, R.I.P. to the ancestor. And I got my smudge stick, you know what I mean? This here is sage mixed with Palo Santos. I'm putting that good energy around, all right? So y'all getting ready to get some good energy today, some good information. So as we was riding in the car and we was building, I told the brother, like I said, you gotta go to the ancestors. And then just do as much research as you can, and you get as much information from the research that you do as you can, and with that information you formulate your own conclusion, okay? But you got to do the math also, no matter what, wherever you're getting the information from. And the best information that you can get, the best lessons learned come from experience, what you see in life and every day. And you put the pieces of the puzzle together from that alone, and you will find out a lot of stuff, okay? So after I told him about, going into the sciences and referring to the written findings of knowledge accumulated from the studies and info gathered, from studying existence as we know it in human form, I went on to say, now, who were the first recorded scientists? He was puzzled for a minute, you know what I mean? He was like, I don't know. I said, who were the first recorded scientists? You know what I mean? Then I answered the question, because I didn't want to make it a long, drawn-out conversation. I wanted to get straight to the point. Who were the first recorded scientists, or people known to have written findings of knowledge accumulated from the studies and info gathered from studying subjects such as life, ecosystems, stars, cellular bodies, and existence period in human form? That answer is the ancient Africans. We are the first scientists, the first artists, the first musicians, the first teachers, scholars. Why were we able to do this? Why we were able to make music? Music is vibration and harmony. That sounds so beautiful that it's music to your ears. Okay? The sound of nature. I'm outside right now. I don't know if you can hear these crickets, the birds, the wind blowing through the leaves of the trees. It's music, it's energy, it's netter. I'm one with it, and it's one with me. We were the first scientists, musicians, everything. So he was sitting there like, okay, we were the first scientists and this and that. And I was like, yes, we were. Once I explained to him that that the ancient Africans were these original scientists, the first people to write down and record their studies and findings on life, ecosystem, stars, cellular bodies, and all of the cosmos and existence in human form, period. You know what I mean? I told them that those ancient Africans came from Kemet. They came from Nubia. And before then, the Dogon tribes, etc. All right? Being one myself who was aligned and attuned with Netter and the cosmos where I come from and am one with, and also an extension of it, I understand the universal, or as I prefer to say, omniversal law of as above, so below, as within, so without. Knowing this, I also know that we all come from a source. Just as your offspring came from you. You came from your mother. Your mother and father came from their mother and father. And so on and so on. All the way back to the original source. Now, me saying that, knowing this, I also know that we all come from a source. Just as your offspring comes from you. Come here, V. This is my son. Let them see you on camera. You know what I mean? Come a little closer in the light so you can be seen. You know, show him your jacket, matter of fact. You know, show him your jacket. Let me. So the light is shining on you. You know what I'm saying? Home of the gods and the goddesses. Y'all gotta get one of these. Nutter. With the Ankh above it. Life. The Eye of Haru. Not the Eye of Horus. Okay? Horus is the Greek term for Haru. The black power fist in gold. Okay? Because we are divine beings. 360 degrees. All right? But back to as I was saying, thanks, Vic. Back to as I was saying, you know, just as your offsprings come from you, you know what I mean? There's a as above, so below, as within, so without. Just as your offspring come from you, you came from your mother and father. Your mother and father came from their mother and father, and so on and so on. See, people want to walk and talk and claim like they know who they are, and they don't even want to finish the research. You know what I mean? The in-depth research that it takes to find the truths of who we are beyond the physical. Okay? Because we didn't just start from the physical. You know what I mean? We didn't just pop up and be here. All right? You know, everything didn't start in Africa. You know what I mean? Physically, everything started in Africa, on this planet Earth. And Africa is the only continent that could produce such a highly melanated human form and body that can encase such divine beings that we are. Okay? We wouldn't be able to exist in a non-melanated body. Okay? Us carbon beings are too much for that. You know what I mean? Us divine netters and netchurts are too much for that. Okay? But that's another subject. But we don't want to do the research. A lot of us are lazy. We want to stop at just Africa, and that's not where it's at. If you want to know the beginning, where we came from, our origin, then you got to go beyond Africa. Okay? Yes, we know we all came from Africa, but it's before that, because in order to know where you're going, you first got to know where you're at. In order to know where you're at, you got to know where you came from. You know what I'm saying? And to know the past and be fully aware of the present empowers you moving forward in the future, okay, to be better equipped. All right, so we know we are divine beings, and divine beings in this physical form come from Africa. But how did we get there? Where did we come from before we got there? Our ancestors studied this and knew this, and because of that, along with the internalization of the facts derived from those studies and reincorporating those divine practices in their everyday culture, they were able to become actively one with Netter in the infinite cosmos once again. Because some of us are one with the cosmos, you know what I'm saying? We are one with Netter, but we are not actively one with the cosmos. Actively one with divine netter. Now, knowing that all physical life in this realm comes from the woman, or the feminine energy, manifested in this realm and plane of existence as the woman, along with knowing that, as mentioned before, as above, so below, then we have to know that not only does existence in the physical realm come from the woman or the feminine energy, because as above, so below, but the same goes for the etheric or the spiritual realm of existence. Okay? Whatever source you came from, you take on those characteristics of that source. Such as, example, I'm going to give you, you look like your father. I said it earlier. You know what I mean? Your mother and father look like their mother and father. The energy that is responsible for your life force takes on the same characteristic traits and energy responsible for it, or that it is an extension of. In short, your kid has your DNA in it, and that's why your kids look like you do. You have your mother and father's DNA, and that's why you look like them. They have their mother and father's DNA, and all the way back to the first human being that the earth created. The first human being that the earth created has the same DNA in it as the earth, which it was spawned from. The earth has the same DNA in it as the cosmos, which it is from, and that created it. The cosmos has the same DNA in it as the spark or source of energy that created it. And that source is the divine feminine energy, as above, so below. Okay? As within, so without. We know this because women exhibit the same behavior as the earth does, by bringing forth life and nourishing it as well. They get that from the earth. The earth brings forth many different forms of life and types of life and nourishes them all. The vast and infinite cosmos that the earth comes from does the same thing. That's where the earth gets that from. It produces, nourishes, and sustains planets and stars, constellations, galaxies, etc. Our ancestors knew this, all right? Our ancestors knew this. So they wanted all of their actions and their deeds to be in step with and in line with that of the cosmos, which they come from and are an extension and a part of. They said that there is no gender. Okay, I'm running through this information, so I'm asking y'all to keep up with me because I don't want to make this video real long, all right? But they say that there is no gender in the etheric realm or the spirit realm. How do y'all feel about that? There is no gender in the etheric or spirit realm, and that we are all one on that plane. There is no gender. I believe this to be false, okay? Because of what I just stated concerning the divine feminine energy. Also, I know well of the universal laws of balance, yin and yang. The same can be said for when you are first conceived in a human form and taken shape to be so. When you are being formed as a fetus in your mother's womb, you can't tell what gender the baby is until at least 5 months, all right? I just went through this not too long ago, so I know, and I'm sure all of y'all know. When you are being formed as a fetus in your mother's womb, or a baby is being formed as a fetus in the mother's womb, you can't tell what gender the baby is until after 5 months, and then you go to the doctor and find out, you know, what sex the baby is going to be after 5 months of pregnancy. But that doesn't mean that the life being formed doesn't know what gender it is until 5 months. That just means that you can't tell until 5 months of pregnancy what it will be or what it is. However, I do believe that in the spirit realm, that the divine feminine energy is the most prevalent and dominant. Okay? So I don't think it's one gender. I think it's, as I said, I believe in as above, so below. I believe in the universal laws of yin and yang, a positive and a negative. You know what I mean? It has to be a perfect balance. But I do believe that the perfect balance has the woman, the divine feminine energy, as the most dominant. Because she is the creator of life. She is the one that keeps producing. She is the portal. Okay? She is the nourisher. We help sustain her and sustain it and sustain ourselves. We are the enforcers. Okay? The protectors of the law, upholders of the law, and the protectors of the sacred womb. the protectors of the sacred woman, protectors of the village. Okay, but she has the hardest part by bringing the life into the world and nourishing it. You know what I mean? Because without her, we wouldn't be here. We wouldn't be able to protect the village. Okay. So that netter or goddess energy shapes the gender. All right. So that netter or goddess energy shapes the gender according to what it feels the omniverse needs in order to maintain balance and sustenance. So referring to that baby that's being formed in the mother's womb, that fetus. Like I said, it knows what gender it is, long before we do. You know what I'm saying? It knew from the beginning because it started the creation process to become that. And what determined it to be a female or male or whatever, in the physical realm, certain things have to take place, you know what I'm saying, for it to be a male or a female. But in the spirit realm, it's all about balance. So that nature or goddess energy shaped that gender according to what it felt the omniverse needed in order to maintain balance and sustenance accordingly. This is evident in all of nature or netter. And those in control of society, as we know it, notice as well. But they won't come out and directly tell you this because they know that knowledge will empower you. However, they will go about it in subtle ways and through documentaries like that they have on National Geographic and the History Channel and Science channels, etc. They'll introduce it to you that way and give it to you as a form of entertainment. But they won't come out directly and tell you this stuff because they know that knowledge is power. They don't tell you this in schools and stuff like that because they're not truly schooling you. They're programming you. For instance, they show knowledge of the feminine energy being more dominant and prevalent when they refer to the creative force of energy on the earth or in this realm of existence as Mother Nature. I'm going to repeat that because I'm about to go there with y'all. And I know a couple people going to really feel me on this, like Balquise and, a couple other people. But for instance, they show their knowledge of the feminine energy being more dominant and prevalent when they refer to the creative force of energy in this realm of existence and world as Mother Nature. They refer to that energy as Mother Nature, not Father Nature, Mother Nature. That's powerful, okay? When you refer to the creative force as a mother, that's acknowledgement right there. That's knowing, okay? They call the planet that we live on that produces an innumerable amount of various life forms. They refer to that planet that we live on as Mother Earth. In the Navy, when you have a fleet of ships, they refer to the lead ship or the head ship as the mothership. The same thing with alien spacecrafts and stuff. They have a bunch of small alien spacecraft, and then they have one that they call the mothership. All right. Now, where the divine feminine energy is known to be the producers, portals, and nourishers of life, the masculine energy, as I stated before, that is dominant in males in this physical plane and realm of existence, was created to sustain balance, but also enforce the laws of that balance and to protect the divine feminine energy on all levels of existence and all forms of life. Why do I say in all levels of existence and all forms of life that they are meant to protect the divine feminine energy? For instance, ants in a colony, they work together to feed, protect, and sustain the village, especially the queen. Okay? They do all this for the queen ant. She don't have to go nowhere and do nothing unless she feels like it. The rest of them do all the work for her. Okay? The same with a hive of bees. You have worker bees, scout bees, etc. that all work for the benefit of the queen bee. Okay? Not the king bee, the queen bee, which in essence indirectly ensures the continuation of the rest of the hive. Y'all follow me? So when we ask the question, how did we get here, and how did diverse divine woman get here that we all spawned from, we must go to the sciences of the ancestors, along with what we know to be internally true, as all the answers are genetically encoded in our DNA, along with what we know to be internally true, as all the answers are genetically encoded in our DNA. That's why when you hear something that resonates with you, when you hear something that's true, you know what I mean? When you hear something that's right knowledge, that's fact, you internally know this already, so it resonates with you. You're like, yeah. So we must do this studying. We must do this research. We must do this acknowledgement. And we must internalize from our ancestors, you know what I mean, the truth coming from our ancestors, from our people, from our bloodline, from our lineage, and from within, and from observation, okay? Don't just follow somebody else's writings, follow somebody else's teachings. Don't even take my word for it, okay? Go by your observations of life in real time, okay? Go by your own studies, okay? Your own calculations, all right? And some of us might be miscalculating. Make sure you're doing the math so you can keep doing it over and over again until you know you got it right. It's already in you, and you're going to know it when you hear it. You're going to know the truth. So we must do this before we get into the sciences of the patterns of all life and creation and the omniverse, stemming from the original 360 cipher of energy, which then procreated itself and formed two ciphers of energy. You know what I mean? The original being the feminine and the second being the masculine, to balance and protect the laws of governing itself to ensure sustainment and continuation of existence. Why must we do this? Because when you're presented with false knowledge, false information, false guidance or misguidance, you won't be able to know, because you already did the math inside. You already did the observations and internalized what you've seen and what you lived in real time. Okay, and they can't run no BS over you. All right? From those two ciphers that emerged from the omniverse, original 360, which procreated itself and formed two ciphers of energy. You know what I'm saying? The one being the masculine, one being the feminine, the original, the feminine. From those two ciphers that merged and created and procreated, they made the shape and symbol we know as the infinity sign, or the number 8. From there, they kept procreating, which brought forth a younger version of both of themselves, and is present in the divine child or starseed unity, completing the first Holy Trinity, which consists of woman, man, and child. Not man, woman, and child. Consists of woman, man, and child. Okay? This pattern does not stop there. Why do I say not man, woman, and child, but woman, man, and child? Because just as you came from the woman first, that means she was here first, then you came, and then the child came. Okay, this is not just something that we experience in life and are seeing. This is something we should speak as well. Okay, when you speak the truth, you speak power. When you speak alignment, you know what I mean, with Netter, you are speaking power. It puts you on a whole nother vibe and frequency that you will resonate on and put you above the rest. The power from it is incredible. All right. So as I said, the pattern does not stop there. It keeps on procreating itself with duplicate circles and ciphers inside of a huge circle or cipher, bringing into creation what our ancestors from Africa knew, and spread all across the continents, even into Asia, as the flower of life. The flower of life also has a few different versions of itself according to the speed of vibration and frequency, which allow it to create other forms of existence, which dictate the laws according to the speed and frequency, you know what I'm saying, of density, etc. One of those variations is also known as Metatron's cube. From these patterns of blood, from these patterns abroad and flowers of life, you get the pattern of the whole omniverse and everything in existence within it. Everything is spawned from those patterns and created. Okay? These are not just some things I'm rambling off now. I need you to know this. I've done my studying. I've done my observation. I've done my internal studying and internal observations and aligning and oneness. And these are facts. Well known by the most intelligent scientists known today, who got a lot of their information to the studies of the omniverse and compared their notes to the studies of our ancient ancestors from Africa. These writings were written on the monumental pyramids, temples, and structures all throughout Africa, especially in Kemet, which was the place where Africa was at its peak as far as civilization known to the modern world. Now, as I mentioned in another video before this, Einstein spoke of these truths in his writings and journals on relativity when he spoke of all things being related, core related. The source of something is its core, and coming from one particular source of energy and vibration. He spoke of this. He only knew this because we knew this in the form of our ancestors. I'm going to say this again. He only knew this because we knew this in the form of our ancestors. And now it's our time that we know this in our present bodies of existence as well, to complete our journey. This is your God, Brother Andre. 360 degrees of wholeness, balance, perfection, power, and continuous elevation. Know who you are. Internalize it. Walk with it. Let people for who they are.